Okay, so here we are for our next meeting, and we go ahead in deepening our conversation about consoling the heart of Jesus. We reached number 8 meeting, and today, yes, we say something really different, maybe unexpected. But as I see, very useful in order to see better our perspective of consoling the heart of Jesus. With the help today of Chiara Lubich. You know that Chiara Lubich, she was the founder, she died a few years ago, she was the founder of the Focolare movement. It's a lay movement. Their charism is unity, and in their spirituality they have something that is really helpful in order to understand better what it means to console the heart of Jesus. In what sense they intend it and how they live in their spirituality is something that I consider useful for the path that we are doing together. So, first of all, just like we did also for other saints that helped us with our theme, let us see something about her biography. Well, first of all, I have to say that I've lived very close, in the same town of Chiara Lubich for years, but I never met her. We were in Grottaferrata, Rome. She lived there for decades, I guess. I was a young religious. Well, and yes, I know that she was there. Well, she joined all the meetings of the Focolare movement. The reason why she lived there is because Grottaferrata is just next to, very close to Castel Gandolfo. Castel Gandolfo is a city where, well, the popes used to go there very often. It's Pope Francis who is not going, but every pope used to go there, above all for summertime, for vacation. There is a big property of the Vatican. And inside this property, a part of it is what we call Mariapoli. Mariapoli is a place for meetings for the Focolare movement. And so that's why Chiara Lubich was living in the surroundings, for joining those meetings. But let's see where she starts, where she comes from. She's from Trento. Trento is a city in the northern part of Italy. She was born there in 1920. And her name was Silvia, actually, but then she joined the Third Order of the Franciscan, and so she took the name of Chiara, Clare, out of the name of Saint Clare, of course. But her spirituality is not really connected to the Franciscan spirituality, which should be poverty, actually, right? Her spirituality is unity, so let us see how she intended it. Well, she was only a young teacher, and she was like 24 years old. She was teaching into a primary school, and then was the time when she launched her movement. Focolare means hearth. And she had just a group of young women. It was 1944, so we are just in the middle of the war, of the World War, the Second World War. And what she thought had a revolutionary impact in the Catholicism of the time and still of today. There was, first of all, a reassessment of the importance of laity, because this is a movement led by lay people. There are a lot of priests inside, but it's lay people who take care of it. There is a return to the scripture. There is a joyful way of living the liturgy. So with the popular tunes, they have their own bands, who play songs, who create, compose. Gen Rosso, Gen Verde, very famous in Italy and also above all the world. Many of the songs that we sing in church, they come from them. And then, of course, the emphasis was the one of love and unity. They discovered, this word, John chapter 17, verse 21, that all may be one. Okay, ut unum sint in Latin, which is also a document of the council, of the Second Vatican Council. So they anticipated 20 years before, what the council said with an official document, an important document of the council. And they were in the worst of the times, because they were, yes, in Trento, and Trento was still under the German occupation. So there was a heavy Allied bombing. They were facing death. They had death staring them in the face. And yes, they put this word at the center, that all may be one. So unity achieved through mutual love. Then we have to talk about all the development of the movement. So they started before spreading all above Italy, and this happened already in 1940. In the 40s, it was already pretty known in Italy. Then in the 50s, across Europe, and then in the 60s, the Focolare movement was already known in every continent. So there was a big development, spreading of this new idea, right? Not only of living the gospel, but living the gospel also in a very real way, because they also, Chiara were also talking about the economy of communion. Economy of communion. So a new way of looking at business, of doing enterprise. Then in 1960, they had the approval of the Vatican. And they also, in time, they took care, of course, they take care of unity, so they take care also of the cause of ecumenism. Ecumenism means to talk with Lutherans, to talk with Anglicans, also to talk about, to talk with, for example, the Patriarch Athenagoras of Constantinople. So this ecumenic dialogue. Not only ecumenism, but also, which means in between those who believe in Jesus, but also a multi-faith dialogue. This is the only movement that has members that join the movement, and some of them are not Christian, not Catholic. Some of them belong to other faiths. In 1997, it was the month of May, Chiara Lubich was the first Christian and the first woman who preached in the mosque in New York, in Harlem, the Malcolm X Mosque. So a huge organization Well, now, of course, Chiara, she died in 2008 at the age of 88. It was March 14. But the movement is still working and spreading its charism all over the globe. And there are experiences very nice. For example, in Italy, there is this little city, this town called Loppiano, which is a place entirely belonging to the Focolare movement. It's a town where everybody belongs to the Focolare movement. So they have a big church, they have small houses, there are families, there are priests, there are lay people, there are nuns, there is everybody who wants to live that spirituality. I went there myself, for my spiritual exercise, which you do once a year, right? A week. I went there with other priests, and we joined them in living, their life. We stayed there in one community, and we worked with them, we prayed with them, we shared their spirituality, we prayed with them. It's really amazing. Chiara Lubich and the movement of Focolare, they really brought a new spirit in the Catholic Church, and not only the Catholic Church. And now let's go, after we introduced this spirituality in Chiara Lubich, that of course but let's go now straight to the point why Chiara Lubich can help us in helping us in doing another step toward the comprehension of the understanding of what consoling the heart of Jesus means. Chiara Lubich talks about as the core of their spirituality. In order to reach unity, they talk about loving Jesus in his abandonment on the cross. And they say that this means to love him in the pains and sacrifices and being attentive to our neighbor, to the pains of our neighbor. So Jesus forsaken is so as a key to unity, to the unity that they want to reach. So they start from Jesus abandoned, Jesus forsaken. Jesus abandoned and forsaken in the Gethsemane, and above all along the Passion, but mostly Jesus forsaken on the cross when he feels abandoned even from his Father. There is something more. Chiara Lubich was she connected. She connected this spirituality of consoling Jesus forsaken, of being with Jesus forsaken. She connects with something that Saint John of the Cross said. Saint John of the Cross talked about the 12 stars of perfection, which is very interesting to mention. So it's Chiara Lubich who takes that. She says that during a meditation that she was doing, she happened to read about the 12 stars of perfection of St. John of the Cross. And these stars means the most important thing in spiritual life for St. John of the Cross. First, love of God. So Chiara Lubich says, when I pay my attention to Jesus forsaken, when I keep company to Jesus forsaken, then I grow in loving God. The first star of St. John of the Cross. Second star, love of neighbor. When I console Jesus forsaken, I grow in love of neighbor. The third star of St. John of the Cross, chastity. Chastity is something that I grow in if I stay close to Jesus forsaken. That helps me in chastity. Not only chastity, all the three vows. So the third star is chastity, the fourth star is poverty, the fifth star is obedience. I grow in chastity, poverty, and obedience by being next to Jesus forsaken, consoling him, meditating about Jesus forsaken, keeping him company. Then, sixth star, peace. Seventh star, silence. Eighth, humility. Ninth star, mortification. 10, penitence. 11th star, choir. When we read choir, we need to think about not the choir of people who sings, like a chorus. Choir intended like, in some churches, there is this place where all the friars used to sit, in a semicircle. And in the middle there was always something, an ambo where to put the Word of God, the Bible. Sometimes it was a big book where to read the prayers, the morning prayers, also the office of the readings, right? And so this is what we call choir. So practically we can read the communitarian prayer, community prayer. And then the 12th star of St. John of the Cross, prayer, which means personal prayer. So you grow in the love of God, love of neighbor, chastity, poverty, obedience, peace, silence, humility, mortification, penitence, choir, community prayer, and prayer, personal prayer, if or when you take care of Jesus forsaken. So she saw in this spirituality the key to develop everything. She realized that in loving Jesus forsaken, she had made these 12 stars shine a bit more in her soul. So everything got better, by solely loving Jesus forsaken. So Jesus forsaken for Focolare movement is a monument of holiness, is the secret of holiness. Jesus forsaken contains the key to give an answer to the deepest mystery that envelops the life of the human being, which means the mystery of pain. Because we face it all the time. There are a lot of people who is passing through this darkness of the mystery of pain. By meditating, by loving Jesus forsaken, we get the answers to this deep mystery that sometimes and many times gives so much trouble, to a human being. So we have, in this mystery of Jesus forsaken, we have the mystery of Jesus on earth, Jesus incarnated. We have the mystery of Jesus, our brother. We have the mystery of Jesus who dies between two thieves for us. So he, the Son of God, sharing a common life with others. So you see now how Chiara Lubich in order to succeed in achieving the charism of unity, she's passing through something that is really connected to what we are saying and many saints have been saying. Many saints said, all the saints that we have been mentioning in our meetings. And then, so at this point, Chiara Lubich says, I have only one spouse on earth, which is Jesus forsaken. Well, we're talking about a consecrated person, of course. But it's not only a matter of being consecrated, because every soul is so unity that is the unity with Jesus, the abandoned one. The unity with him, which is a unity with a spouse. And then through this unity, then I am in unity with everybody. It doesn't make sense to have unity with Jesus, to be in communion with Jesus, and then not to be in union with everybody. It's what happens all the time. We want to console Jesus. And Chiara Lubich says, you want to console Jesus? Okay, so you gotta unite yourself with them. You cannot do that if you are not one with all your brothers and sisters. So this is the step that Chiara Lubich is helping us to do today. In order to console the heart of Jesus, you gotta be one. In order to be one with them, one and between yourselves, with your brothers or one another. So she says, and John chapter 12, verse 2 here. It remains, but it bears. So that died, so the great experience by the Father. God, why abandon me? Grain of wheat totally dies. He does. We want to love in have forgotten. Brings you to the unity. So after Father's command himself to Father, in which he is taken he command. But if you want to be he only spouse, that is unity between our create myself to some totally a prayer is she just told us the deeper man. And she said this in all along many catecheses. It's reported, you can find this also on internet. So she said, one on earth, Jesus for in heaven is the whole of paradise with the Trinity and the whole of the earth with humanity. Therefore, what is his is mine and nothing else. And his is universal suffering and therefore mine. So his is universal suffering and therefore mine. I will go through the world seeking it in every instant of my life. What hurts me is mine. Mine the suffering that graces me in the present. Mine the suffering of the souls beside me. That is my Jesus. Mine all that is not peace, not joy, not beautiful, not lovable, not serene. In a word, what is not paradise? Mine. Because I too have my paradise, but it is that in my spouse's heart. I know no other. So it will be for the years I have left, a thirst for suffering, anguish, despair, sorrow, exile, forsakenness, torment, for all that is Him. In this way, I will dry up the waters of tribulation in many hearts nearby, and through communion with my almighty spouse in many fairway, I shall pass as a fire that consumes all that must fall and leaves standing only the truth. But it is necessary to be like him, to be him in the present moment of life. So the unity with Jesus, it means to be Jesus. To console the heart of Jesus, she's saying, to use our words, the terms that we have been talking about. To console the heart of Jesus, you need to feel what he feels. You need to share what he's feeling. You need to suffer what he's suffering. So you cannot console the heart of Jesus if you're not sharing the anguish of Jesus for human being. But not only in general, like sharing that sadness, which is the start, of course. But sharing that and doing what Jesus is doing. So Jesus is looking at this humanity, this troubled and sinner humanity, and he feels sad inside. So he needs consolation, right? So you give your consolation by sharing the same concern for humanity, and just like Jesus sacrificed himself, you should be ready to sacrifice in your little ways. You should sacrifice also yourself. By doing this, you console the heart of Jesus. Because, says Chiara Lubich, you are reaching unity with Jesus first, and then unity with your neighbor who is forsaken as well. So by being one with your brother who is forsaken, you will be one with Jesus who is forsaken, and this will console the heart of Jesus. So I think that, today we did another step, saying something different that we didn't say before, And of course, you see, every saint gave us something different. Because this spirituality of the heart of Jesus is huge. So we are in the heart of Jesus, which means we are in heaven. We are in a huge space. This is not simple. Well, it is simple in a way, because it's love. But it is infinite at the same time. And so everyone who enters in that heart does that experience in a different way. Today we received this contribution from Chiara Lubich about unity and consoling Jesus forsaken. And also, we mentioned St. John of the Cross with the 12 stars, which is also something important in order to understand better what it means to console the heart of Jesus. So this is the meeting number 8. There are only 2 missing, which we will have next week. Thank you.